Hello everybody, Ray Garner with Garner's Games, here to do my weekly comic review. And tonight, it's fight night. Knightfight. Now this is DCKO Knightfight #1. Our writer is Joshua Williamson, and our artist is Dan Mora. And I'm going to start off talking about this cool cover. Really like this Apocalypse New God style armor that we got here, and the as a Star Trek fan, the Bathleth. It's kind of neat. So we start off, we're in Gotham City. Not a very specific time frame, just recently. Batman's talking about his age starting to catch up to him, and by the time he gets to a deal with the bat symbol, his proteges have actually already taken care of the problem. And then we cut to the scenes from, I'm going to assume everybody's read DCKO, where things don't go Batman's way. And it becomes part of a statue of the people who have fallen. But he gets this little ping cracking deal until a white light explosion happens. So anyway, it's an apocalyptic armor outfitted with a special boom tube that would teleport him back home if he became inactive for too long. And as he starts to try to contact Mr. Terrific, an R-orang, I guess is what you'd call it, hits his communicating watch. And he is attacked by a whole flock of robins. And he says he can tell by, he knows who trained them. And he knows, because the way they're trying to do it, that they're leading him somewhere. So he wants to know who's in charge, so he lets them lead him that way. And who he leads him to is Batman. What's line right here is, and very loudly, "I warned you, Bruce, if you return, it would be war." And it's Dick Grayson. And Bruce starts trying to tell him about the Dark Side tournament, and Dick has no idea what he's talking about. He starts telling about how he's put himself into the Lazarus pit because he didn't trust anybody to succeed him as Batman, to the point that, basically he became the problem. But he does point out that while Batman was gone, he's made some improvements as he is now Batman, including a Bat Tower, where the Titans are training an entire army of Robins. Dick even says, your legacy continues through me. By the way, this is a much older, graying on the sides Dick Grayson. And they get into a fight, and Bruce is talking about, how just smoothly Dick moves. And at the end, he's sitting there going, "If you're Batman, where's Jason? Where's Tim? Damian? Where are your brothers?" He's like, "You don't remember? You let your fear of us replace you drive you insane. You said there could be only one Batman, and it can only be you. They're not here because you killed them." And then we have a cool Batman Static Beyond preview in the back. But I'm not going to go into that. That's a whole different story. this is a really cool story where the Batman of the current timeline gets teleported into an alternate timeline dimension where, Batman goes bonkers. He basically kills 3 Robins because he's obsessed that only he can be Batman. I'm Batman. Really like the story. This is one of the best books I've read in a little bit. So I highly recommend the story. So far, it is really good. Ties in nicely to the DC KO event. We can assume by this that Batman's not completely out of the tournament. So he's probably got a side plan, but being teleported to an alternate dimension is going to really interfere with that. This Dick Grayson Batman to show me it's like everything's actually probably better with Dick as Batman, with the Titans as instructors, an entire legion of Robins out there handling the problems. Imagine Gotham City. I'll go back to that real quick just to show you. The Gotham City they go to, that he teleports into, doesn't look like Gotham City. It is bright. It is bustling. Look at where the Bat Tower is at. The bright lights, everything. This is not the dark and gritty, ancient-looking, ran-down Gotham. This is a thriving Gotham where everything is going well. Crime rate, you would have to assume, is way down, with an army of Robins led by Dick Grayson and the Titans, handling stuff. So everything here is saying basically Dick Grayson is better at being Batman than Batman is. And they don't shy away from how great Bruce Wayne believes Dick Grayson is. It even talks about it in the very beginning. Where is it at real quick? I'm going to bounce back to that. Oh, well, I went too far. Yeah. I'm talking about Dick Grayson. The leader. For a while, I thought Dick would replace me, but he built a role and a life of his own. Leads countless heroes in the biggest battles that I've ever thought possible. That I would have ever thought possible when I started. He's talking about the fact, Dick Grayson's the one, that Superman will listen to, Diana will listen to. Because when it comes to leading a big team, he's the one that can bring everybody together more than anybody else can. So, I like that. And that's before he goes to the alternate reality, where that Dick Grayson had to stop Bruce because he was nuts and take the mantle of Batman and turn it into what Dick Grayson would think Batman should be. So, again, great story, kind of sort of Elseworlds, but kind of not. Like I said, highly recommend. This is a great book. So check it out, and I'll see y'all next week.